Well, good morning, Kicksters. Welcome back to the Morning Kick, your business inspiration and an opportunity for you to tap into some great resources that will help you during COVID-19. One of the things we realize as we've been talking to a lot of business owners is that sometimes your head is so in the game that you don't have the chance to pop up for a breath, have a look around, find out where you are, or even where is the life raft. So right now we thought it was a great opportunity for us to be able to introduce you to some guests who are able to help you with your marketing, running your business, and looking after your people, the most important resource in any business. This morning we're welcoming to the show Dr. Annette Coy and Cameron Smith, and they are from a company called the Coretex Group. Annette and Cam, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Hello, Andrew.
Morning,
Lovely
Andrew.
to see you.
Great to be here.
Now, you guys have got quite a reputation, and I really like the fact that you're working with some amazing businesses, helping them with their people, and you talk about yourselves as the human performance specialists. That's a great line. Can you explain to me what the Coretex Group actually does?
Yeah, so we're a team of business psychologists. So our expertise is really that people or the human side of business. There's really sort of two reasons why people would contact Coretex Group. The first one is that they have some sort of people problem or issue, and they'll come and seek us out and say, can you give us a hand with that because it's really impacting our performance? Or the second reason is that they see some great opportunity on the horizon, and so they'll say, how do we psychologically prepare our teams for that? So what are some of the mindsets and the skill sets that our team might need to thrive in this new environment or this new opportunity? So yeah, we really, when you say human performance specialist, we really bring that sort of psychological edge to business problems and opportunities.
Yeah. You know, recently I was listening to a podcast that was talking about bringing good culture into a business. And sometimes we think of culture as just we all get along, we play ping pong together, we have a few drinks and barbecues. There's so much more. And in this podcast, they were talking about the safety on an oil rig and talking about how important it is for the team to work together because of the safety of the rig. Initially, the kind of dyed-in-the-wall oil rigger said, no, my people don't need culture. But when the person worked with them, they suddenly realized how much the whole unit worked together better, safety levels improved. There's so much more to it when everybody works as a team, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
There is. One of the ways, Andrew, we like to think around culture is context. And every context is different depending on what business, industry, so forth we're working in. So as an example, we're doing some mental health work in a couple of businesses at the moment, but depending on the culture of that business, it actually looks quite different. Great example in terms of being sensitive to culture. And also culture is very respectful of that client and how they work and operate as well. So we're certainly tuned into, got to kind of understand the messages and play to that pace, then work with your client around that pace.
So I take it the Coretex Group would work with people at all different levels because it's not just the people on the front line. I can imagine management needs to work together as a team. And I remember talking to one CEO who told me, who does the CEO go to when the CEO needs help? Is that where Coretex Group can come alongside a business?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, being that CEO or business owner can be a really lonely role sometimes. So sometimes we'll come in as that external sounding board just to give them that sort of fresh perspective or insight about the health of their team or health of their business. So yeah, absolutely, we play in that space.
And we've often found as well that during this time, in the last sort of 4 to 5 weeks, the calls from, say, project leaders or a kind of mid-level in organisations are types of calls or problems. When you get business owners or CEOs or executives, they express their problem quite differently. So kind of tap into how do you meet that most immediate need, then help them to progress on.
Very shortly, we're going to talk to you about a resource that you can get from the Coretex Group website to help you during COVID-19. But Cameron and Annette, one of the things that you talk about is the human spirit. And I think this is probably a really important time where a lot of people are feeling, where has my oomph gone? Where has my passion gone? Because there's a lot of people feeling like they're locked down emotionally, mentally, more than just the workplace. How do you deal with that? Can you help us with remote working teams?
Yeah, sure.
We can.
One of the great things that we harness at this time is that sometimes constraints breed creativity.
Yeah.
And you'll see glimpses of this coming out in the media around some of the great innovations and ideas that are coming out from some teams and businesses when it's not business as normal or usual, and you've got to really think outside the box. So whilst some days, we may turn to the negative side of this scenario, there's some really great positive stories coming out as well.
Yeah. And I think too, like kind of loosening your grip on, I think traditionally in terms of when teams are meeting together in face-to-face and so forth, there's kind of rules that govern how those types of things work. But I think too, given the last 4 to 5 weeks, the conditions for business and team are shifted. So therefore, the adaptability of leaders and others to go, let's just try different stuff. It doesn't have to work. And I think
experiment and test and play.
And we've seen the spirit come out lots, because effectively most people, when you've got a webcam in front of you, you're in people's homes. There's something quite kind of personal and intimate around that. And that kind of loosens people up a little bit in a really kind of genuine or in a very real way. And you kind of see those individual almost personalities or styles coming out a little bit more at the moment.
That's a good thing. I mean, we've seen the Zoom meetings around the world where people have played a little bit. Suddenly there's a husband in the background in the fridge, or there's somebody with their Star Wars background, and that transparent personality comes out. That's a positive. Now, yesterday when we were preparing for this interview, you and I were catching up and talking about what this interview was going to be about. And I said, I'm in the middle of trying to reorganize my office, which right at the moment, there's a collection of pop vinyls that's part of my movie personality.
Very good.
So what can I do to basically try and get myself on track, or to keep myself moving forward? What can a team do?
Great question. So we're big fans, being psychologists as well. We like to, I guess in the practice of our profession, is kind of make psychology make sense every day. It's got to be that kind of thing that when you hear about a technique or a tool, you go, actually, yeah, I can do something with that. I can use that. So we've got a very simple strategy. You use it individually. You could use it as a team. Something called an MBF. So it's a make, break, and a fake every single day. It's a make, break, and a fake. So I'll tell you about it just briefly. And each of these concepts will kind of playful tap into quite a strong psychological construct. So make is that whole sense of progress, and humans love progress. We love to get that sense of getting stuff done. Now, when we're all sitting around in the same office environment, we can kind of see evidence of everyone progressing. But in this kind of environment, people are a bit more isolated and distant. So having those refreshers around what am I making or getting done every day, there's very strong psychological links between progress and happiness. So we love to make. What are you making every day? The next one is breaking. And I think you're referring to this one as well, Andrew, in terms of breaking is hunting out those patterns and routines that are no longer serving us well, the types of stuff that kind of gets in the way. Now, being human, we all love patterns and routines to a point, until they start to burn our energy. So we talk about a pattern breaker. So what are we breaking every single day? It could be the time you get up, the food you eat, taking on a new hobby or an activity, rearranging your office like you're talking about. And we all love
just shaking things up a bit, Andrew.
We love a refresh.
Definitely here.
So the break is all about a refresh. What are we breaking? And faking, it's kind of a bit of a tongue-in-cheek approach around stepping outside our comfort zone. And we've seen great examples tapping back into the human spirit, you reference around people are trying stuff on, stepping outside of their comfort zone at this time, where they're going, you know what, I never thought I'd actually learn French, but you know what, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and
Here
it feels clunky and a bit like it is out of your comfort zone, but you just stretch yourself that little bit, 3%, 10%, and yeah, amazing things can happen.
And that's part of the joy that comes out of the kind of faking it. So again, tongue-in-cheek approach to what are we stretching? We love stretch. It feels good. It feels good. So we have an MBF, make, break, and fake every day.
Let's put that into practice. The make, break, and fake. Well, there you go. You've got something to be able to work with. It was interesting. I was watching the new Lego show last night with my wife, and there was an incredible lady, I think she was from Queensland, who was a scientist, but she went through some kind of medical condition and she lost her ability to focus. And she went into getting Lego and building incredible Star Wars orientated Lego models, but it allowed her to do something different, but refocus and get those skills back. So it's amazing what we can pick up along the way. So learning a language, deciding to pick up a hobby, they'll probably have skills that will translate into other areas of our life, won't they?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we always say to people at this sort of time, hold really loosely onto the when, because if you get really fixated about like when is the new normal going to reveal itself, or when am I going to get back into my old routines, it can be quite sort of unhelpful. So a better question to ask is around the how. So we ask questions when we start our day is, how can we make the most of today? Or how can we maximize our week as a team? Or even how can we look back at this unique time in history and really hand on heart say we absolutely saw the silver lining and we turned it into a great personal, professional opportunity.
That's right.
So yeah, really focusing on that how.
I don't know if you can see the look on my face, but you have got this brain ticking over 100 miles an hour with all of those questions now. So we won't have time to answer them in this particular episode, but I'm sure we're going to have to come back and do it again. Annette and Cam, on the Cortex website, we've provided some resources for leaders during this time. If I come to the Cortex website, what can I find out about you, and what services do you offer here that I can basically tap into?
Yeah, sure. So I guess we sat back and we thought, how do we help teams and businesses right now to sort of stay healthy, stay productive? So if your business needs support with that, we can certainly help you. So we do have an offering around, we're calling it COVID Ready Teams and Leaders. So yeah, there's really three different aspects to that. The first one is, how do you actually rapidly transition your team to remote working? So how do you set your team up for success? And as a leader, how do you communicate effectively so that you keep your teams really engaged right now? And so we know you mentioned culture earlier. We know that now more than ever before, leaders need to be very purposeful and intentional about how they create their team culture. So we can certainly help with some practical strategies in that space. The second one is more sort of when Cam and I flex our resilience muscles, and we've got a team of psychologists. Our craft is really the mental health and well-being. So yeah, businesses and leaders who want to do something really creative and proactive in that space to really make sure that their teams are staying sort of mentally well, and also proactively building their health. So we can certainly assist in that area. And then the third area is really more around the strategy. And I think Cam's had some great ideas about, the whole re-entry piece. So when we actually do start reintegrating back into the workplace, what does that look like, and how do we prepare our teams for that?
It's good, because there's so much good stuff going on at the moment. We're learning new resources, new skills, more resilience. And it's like, how do you package all that up? And how does then a business, senior leaders or business owners, how do you make the most of that to actually then take the business on? So lots of opportunities in that kind of re-entry, recontracting space as businesses start to form and come back together.
It's interesting, somebody on the show in the last couple of days described it as like coming out of a chrysalis. Now, the interesting thing with the chrysalis idea is that you could be the caterpillar who knew they were going to become a butterfly, and so this has not caught you by surprise, or you could be the caterpillar who wakes up one morning and thinks, I've got to be something different, and there's a whole lot of new strategies and skills to do it.
To do that, yeah.
One thing I wanted to just run past you, we talk about resilience, and I think that's an incredible word that we all need right now, just to build in that internal fortitude, if you will. But also there's a level of tolerance and grace that we need to work with each other. So I get the impression that everybody's going through things at different times. Would you agree that teams need to be more understanding working remotely?
Yeah, absolutely. And we see that what we call the roller coaster. So, you've got a group of people who are like, brilliant, I've always wanted to work from home, and here I am. I think this is wonderful. And then you get a group of people who are like, well, I don't know if this is going to work out for me, because now I'm trying to do my business and be productive with the cat and the dog and the kids and my partner. Like, how's that dynamic going to work? And then you've got people that, they're creatures of habit. They love predictability. They love routine. And for them, this uncertainty and disruption is going to be really unsettling for them. So within your team, it's likely that you see that full range of reactions and emotions to this situation. And that's perfectly natural. So we sort of say to people, don't fight it, just acknowledge it for what it is. And then you can talk about strategies within your team meeting to actually maximise that.
Well, guys, it's been wonderful to have you on the Morning Kick. Cam, could I get you to finish off just reminding us of the MBF? It's not quite the MBA. So if we're working with the MBF, what exactly are those three things that we can apply today?
Lovely. So I think it's an opportunity to say, okay, sitting down individually, what's something I could make? How do I signal to myself I'm getting some progress and some growth and movement? Might be small stuff, might be big stuff. Really practical thing, just keeping a list of what are all the things. We have love action lists. What are all the things we're actually getting done? Because you could look at that over a week and go, I've actually done a fair bit of stuff. I'm actually getting a fair bit of stuff. So the make it is important. So prioritizing the 2 to 3 work tasks per day. The break would be, where am I burning energy? Where's the stuff as I think about doing, I'm thinking, oh man, I don't have to do that in the same way every day. That is a red flag to hit that one around. Let's break that. Let's change it up. Let's experiment. I think too, the fake is, what's something I've always wanted to do that I might feel a little bit on the edge of uncomfortable, but you know what? This is actually going to really stretch me, extend me. It's good for me over the long term.
There's some great advice there. Annette, Cam, thank you very much for joining us on the Morning Kick.
Thank you.
Go to the cortexgroup.com.au. You can find out more about this incredible team, the Human Performance Specialists. Well, tomorrow we're going to have a surprise episode for you. That's because we're still trying to find out who's coming on the show tomorrow. Nothing like a little bit of anticipation. Look forward to joining you tomorrow. Make sure that you go to Excite Media's Facebook page to keep up to date with all the details, or you can subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure that you find out more about our channel. Now, if we go very quickly to Excite Media's Thrival plan so that you've got all the details there, this is a checklist we've created to help you with your digital marketing. Let's go to excitemedia.com.au/thrive, and you'll be able to download this free, Google Doc. It gives you some checklists to work through. We went through and did a video of it last Friday if you'd like to have a look at that. In the meantime, thanks very much for joining us today, and we'll be back tomorrow with another episode.